Welcome back to another episode of Climbing the Ranks, where in this series we will be viewing decks based on how they're hyped up. So for example, you have a blue-black rogue deck. Now, depending on what format, or really honestly any format, if it's mill or if it's power, that deck is going to be usually better than most. It's a really competitive deck. And then that's a good deck. Now if you're running like a 4-colored jank elf deck that has like red, black, white, and blue, no green, no green, and you say that it's like the best deck in the world, most people are going to believe that that's not correct. And in this series that I'm starting, we're just trying to break down the decks that are essentially that, but how people say they are compared to how actually they are. If you want to get into a more depth thing, go check out the past videos. But yeah, let's just get into this episode. And this episode is it's a new thing from the new 100 card historic Brawl, which basically is Commander, but you only have 25 life, which is kind of weird, and it's only cards on Mtga. But in this, we'll be bringing the Scarab God as our commander. So it's a thing out of, I believe, I don't even want to butcher it because there's going to be people that are going to be mad at me, but at the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent loses X life. You scry X, where X is the number of zombies you control. So yes, it's going to be sort of a zombie-based deck. And then you can pay 2 generic, 1 black, and 1 blue to exile target card from a graveyard and create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a 4/4 black zombie. And so you can start exiling stuff from people's graveyards and get some stuff. And then with all of the gods out of this set, when it dies, you return it to the hand at the beginning of the next end step. So if your opponent kills it, you can just put it back in your hand and only cast it for 5 instead of casting it for 7 or 9 or anything like that, which is really cool. So basically the deck's going to be based around exiling a bunch of stuff from the graveyard, getting a bunch of big zombies out there, and then just making them lose life, just keep on doing that and over again. And this card really causes some problems because even if it dies, you get it back again, which is really cool. So that's our commander, that's our commander basically. On to the 1-drops. 1 Secret Keeper. Yes, I'm running a mill package. The mill packages enables the second ability of the Scarab God, where you can return 1. So stuff they get in their graveyard that is powerful, we can just pay 4, get like a Vorinclex or a Craterhoof Behemoth or any big card that is really nasty to deal with. It becomes a 4/4. Yes, it's littler, but the abilities still stay. If it has flying, first strike, anything like that, it will stay on there. So yes, mill card. Another mill card, Ruin Crab. Whenever land enters, your opponent mills 3. Bone Shards, removal. It's a really nice card out of the new Historic Horizons release. So you, as additional cost to cast a spell, you discard a card or sacrifice a creature, which we don't care about sacrificing stuff or discarding stuff, and you destroy target creature or planeswalker. So yes, that does also set us up for the second ability of Scarab God. Yes, now you're seeing a pattern where we're just basically aiming the second ability of Scarab God. Devour Intellect, discarding. So yes, creatures go out of their hand and their hand gets smaller. Fatal Push, destruction. Foulmire, it's a 1/1 death touch, and you can also draw off of the Profane Insight ability. Knight of Ebon Legend. This card's really awesome. It's a 1-drop. It gains 3/3 +3/+3 in death touch by paying 2 generic and 1 black. And then at the beginning of your next end step, if a player lost 4 or more life, you get to put a +1/+1 on it, which is really nice. So you just keep doing a bunch of stuff with this, so this card gets out of hand very quickly. I'm running a Reaper's Talisman because you can do some nasty stuff with it. Whenever equipped creature attacks, it gains death touch, which is already cool. And then it becomes a serrated scorpion ability whenever it attacks. So you gain 2 life and your opponent loses 2 life, which is really cool. Shambling Ghast, it's a new zombie. It's a really good zombie out of the new set. And it's a 1/1 drop. When it dies, you can either target creature and opponent controls get -1/-1. So Seasoned Hollowblade you can destroy, or really any 1-drop. And then the other ability is Search the Body, where you could create a treasure token. So it's a ramp in black, which is really cool. Thieves Guild Enforcer, it's just another milk card. Vampire Dire Moon, it's a 1/1 drop with death touch and lifelink, which is really cool. On to the 2-drops. We're running 1 Anticognition. This is a counter, another counter, Whenever another, this is a new card, well, not a newer card. It's kind of like Rin Crab, but whenever another snow permanent you control enters the battlefield under your control, you may have target player mill 2. So it's sort of like that, but it's whenever a snow permanent. So any of our lands that drop and some of the cards that are coming out, well, a card I believe, it will trigger off of it, which is really cool. Maddening Cacophony, also more mill. You can make them mill half their deck, which is kind of stupid, or you can just make them mill 8. Negate for countering, Test of Talents for countering. Yes, I do run this card. I like it in here because it counters instant or sorceries. I probably won't get the trigger off of it in case they're running something like per se the new Dragon's Approach card, or I believe that's what it's called, out of the Strixhaven set, where you can run as many as you want and you can just mill their deck really thinly. Doomblade for destruction, Eliminate for also destruction, Feed the Swarm for also destruction, and it also destroys enchantments, which are really cool. Heartless Act for destruction, Power Word Kill for destruction, it's a lot of destruction. Krydle of Baldur's Gate, this is a new card. When it enters a battlefield, or no, when it deals damage, that you may have that player mill a card, lose a life, and then you gain a life, and then you scry one, so it's kind of crazy. And then whenever you attack, you may pay 2, and target creature, if you do, target creature can't be blocked this turn, which is really neat. It's a generic rogue card. Yeah, it's the rogue card. Arcane Signet for also more ramp, and that's it for the 2 drops. On to the 3 drops, we're running a Teferi's Tutelage, more mill, Brazen Borrower, put it back in your hand, and it also can flash it in and have a 3/1. I'm glad this card is going out of rotation, but it doesn't matter in historic Brawl. Saw it coming for another counter. You find the villain's lair. Yes, I do run this card. It counters, and you can also draw, which is really nice. Yes, I'm running the Acererak. It's a zombie, and on plus of that, you can venture into Dungeon a bunch, and you can create zombies with it, which is really cool. Bastion of Remembrance, whenever a creature you control dies, your opponent loses a life and you gain a life, which is really cool. And when it enters the battlefield, you create a 1/1. Elspeth Nightmare for destruction, discarding and exiling your opponent's graveyard. Rotting Regisaur, it's probably one of the most powerful drops in black. For only 3, it's a 7/6. You discard a card at the beginning of upkeep, but that doesn't matter for the amount of power it gives you. And it's also a zombie, which I think is really cool. Soul Shatter, yeah, this card's just removal. It also destroys indestructible stuff. Murder, more destruction. Murderous Rider, more destruction. Poison the Cup, more destruction. King Narfi's Betrayal, you mill 4 cards and you may exile a creature or planeswalker from each graveyard, so you get stuff and then you can cast it later, until it leaves the battlefield. King Narfi's does. Behold the Multiverse, scry 2, draw 2. Tezzer's Gambit, draw 2. Sleep, it tap all creatures target players control, so you can get in a bunch of damage, and they don't untap during the next player's untap step, which is cool. Teferi, because Teferi is Teferi, and it's a great card. Demilic, this card comes up not a whole bunch, but I like it in there because you can copy an instant or sorcery from your graveyard, which is cool, and then you can cast it from the graveyard if you do end up discarding it or getting it milled. Baleful Mastery for removal. Extinction Event for removal. Liliana for discarding, -X, and then you can start returning stuff from the graveyard if you get the emblem ability. Rankle, because Rankle's Rankle, and it's awesome. Fraction Obliterator, because Obliterator is super powerful. Cosmos Elixir for gaining life. It's pretty much a generic, Brawl staple card right now because you start gaining a bunch of life. Imarith, the Desert Doom, this is a new card. It has Warp 4 as long as it's untapped, and whenever it deals combat damage, you draw a card. Then if you have fewer than 3 cards, you draw cards equal to difference. So it's a draw outlet, and it has Ward, which is cool. Clockbridge Troll for also the same ability as basically Rotting Regisaur. For the amount of power you get for it, and you get draw and gaining life, it's really nice. Time Warp, I also missed this. It's just there's a reason why it's banned in Historic. You take an extra turn after this one. Westgate Regent for super powerful stuff, and it's a brand new card, which is cool. Ashiok, because Ashiok, you can mill stuff, it removal stuff, and then you can cast up 3 face-up cards from exile you did with this ability, which without paying the mana cost, which is cool. And then a Narfi, because other zombies you control get +1/+1, and then you can pay 3 and you can return it from your graveyard to the battlefield tap, which is really cool. Shark Typhoon, because it's a card, and I'm glad to see this card's going away because this card is a pain in the butt to deal with. Blood on the Snow for board wipe. Alrund's Epiphany for the same reason as Time Warp. Kiara, because Kiara creates some nasty stuff. 8/8, tap all non-land permanents your opponent control. So basically sleep, but all non-land permanents, and then you can control target permanent an opponent controls when you untap it. It's really cool. Lolith Giant is, well, a Lotleth Giant. It has 7, it's a 7/6/5 zombie, and it has undergrowth, so when it enters the battlefield, it does 1 damage to target, to target opponent for each creature card in your graveyard. So if you start having a bunch of stuff, it'll start doing a bunch of damage. And an Ugin, because Ugin's Ugin. It explains itself. Hall of the Storm Giants, this card's just pretty nice in there. I got 17 snow-covered islands and 18 snow-covered swamps, a command tower, evolving wilds, and a fable passage. Just generic stuff. And yes, that's the deck. It's pretty simple. You really just want to get the second ability off of the Scarab God and get stuff like Narfi Betrayer King. I don't have the other stuff that gives zombies +1/+1, but I mean, you don't really need it that badly unless you want to start getting a lot of powerful stuff. But most of the time it's pretty good. So you basically want your opponent to have as small of a board as possible and have most of it in the graveyard and to attack them with their own stuff. It's sort of like stealing with rogues, but it's rogue colors, obviously, because blue, there would be no other deck that would be that unless blue-black. So yep, that's the deck, and let's get into the games. Okay, so game 1, our hand is really good. We have some early counters. We're going against a Feather the Redeemed. I have not gone against this Brawl deck. Well, I know that Historic Brawl is a new feature and all, but like, I've played mini games before this, and I've never played against it yet. So I'm gonna Shatter the Feather Redeemed. It doesn't seem like a really fun card to play against. I'm gonna pass back over to him just because I have a Sock coming in case I need a gate. I'm going to pass back over once again. Play land here. I'm going to play the Scarab God here. And he's going to Elspeth it, which sucks. I'm going to do a Clackbridge Troll targeting him, which I don't know why I had to target him. But I attack with Clackbridge, and he's not going to sacrifice for some weird reason, but I guess he didn't want me to draw anything or gain life. So I made him lose. He places Feather the Redeemed. I do Fabled Passage. I'm going to grab myself a island. And then, let's see, I'm going to do Clackbridge. Well, I'm going to just go on to combat. He sacrifices his Feather the Redeemed, which, I mean, it makes sense because he Elspeths it next turn. With it, well, it becomes a 4/5, which is kind of scary as a flyer, but, I mean, it's just not that bad. At this point, I'm going to Brazen Borrower it. He's going to shield it, which I'm going to Test of Talents it, or whatever. I think it's like Shatter or something. And then he's going to do Feeder Resistance, which I'm going to negate it. Yeah, that's a big blue line. That makes sense. I do the laughter thing at him. He says nice. And I'm going to exile his Shelter. I think that's what it's called. And put the Feather the Redeemed back in his hand. And he scoops from there. Game 2. Interesting. Our hand is not amazing, but we can do some stuff with it because we do have ramp and we do have a negate, which is pretty nice. So I'm gonna keep it. I tell him hello. He says hello back to me, which is he's nice, I guess, or she, or whoever it is. I'm gonna do Arcane Signet, pass it back over to him. Let's see what he's gonna do. He played a land. It's weird because it's like a Snow Omnath deck. Okay, he played Knight of Reliquary, so it's a mill sort of deck. I'm going to foretell... No, I decide not to foretell Sock coming because there's no point, because then I can't negate anything if he plays his Omnath, which I believe he has another land. Yeah, so he's going to play his Omnath here, I'm guessing. Yep, so I'm going to negate it with Sock coming, and he puts it back in his command zone, obviously. I'm going to play a land here, do Scarab God, pass it back over to him. Let's see what he has. He's probably... Oh, well, there goes my Scarab God, sadly enough. Attacks with Knight of Reliquary. And I do Maddening Cacophony. And I just realized that I probably shouldn't have done that because Knight of Reliquary gets +1/+1 for each land card in your graveyard. But I do like seeing 50 cards in the graveyard funny. So I take 17 damage. There's nothing I can do here. I just play down the Shambling Ghast in just kind of hopes. I do Clackbridge Troll as well, and I target him, but it's not like he's gonna do anything with it. I believe, yeah, he's gonna just, yeah, this is not a good point that I'm at right now. I'm gonna attack him with 8. I don't know why he did that because he would have had a bunch of 0/1s, and then I just tell him good game because it was game. Well, 3, I'd say. I thought it was 4, but I don't know why. Hand was pretty decent. I decided to keep it. We have some nice removal. I'm playing another land. I'm going to pass back over to him, but what kind of sucks about Doomblade is that non-black, and he's playing black, which sucks. I'll hope he drops down a mono red creature here, but I highly doubt it. I'm guessing he's going to play the Kalane. I believe that's what his commander is. Kalane is a neat commander, but it's like not fantastic. I'm going to make him mill 4 off of Secretkeeper here. Ooh, got a nice duress. He's going to do Omen of the Dead, returning Acquisitions Expert, it looks like, from his graveyard to his hand. Or it's probably not Acquisitions Expert. It might be, actually. He makes me discard a card, which I discard. Yep, it was Acquisitions Expert. I'm going to reveal both my Doomblade and my Snow-Covered Island, because I know I don't need those. And then I'm going to do Extinction Event, choosing even just to get rid of his board, because I don't want to be taking that much damage. He's going to do the Shrine, the Honden, I guess, and I'm going to be discarding a card for each shrine he controls, which is kind of nasty. Just every upkeep I have to discard, which I have to discard Ujin, but I don't know what took him so long for him to decide that I have to do that. I was just seeing what he had in his graveyard and what I have in my graveyard, just in case he had any graveyard he like plays. He plays a Croxa. Oh, sorry, it's Croxa, not Kalane. And that makes sense now. He does Blood Beckoning, which is fine. I'm going to do both Secretkeeper and the Scarab God. I'm going to draw 3 from here, but I have to discard a card. I decided to keep Sleep and Obliterator, so I'm going to play down... I'm going to target my Murderous Rider in my graveyard and make it a thing. I'm going to discard the Sleep. I can't speak today. So I have a 4/4 Murderous Rider zombie, which is kind of cool. And I'm not sure if he's going to be able to do much. He's going to do Crocs again, which doesn't really matter, I guess. I guess he can get my Shambling Ghast, but that's not really a problem with me because, I mean, he gets a treasure, but that's like, okay. So he's going to do 3 damage to any target, but it just does it to me, and he scoops from there. Okay, game 4, actually game 4 this time. He tells me hello, I tell him hello back. Hand was decent, wasn't the best, but it's something, Sign in Bloody gets to draw 2 cards. Pilfering it deals me a damage. Oh, okay, so I'm gonna do a land here, and I have to cycle Shark Typhoon because I need another card, and it's a black land. Ah, that's a shame. So I just have a 1/1 flyer to deal with his Pilfering Imp, which, I mean, that's kind of cool. He plays Vault Scourge, a newly released card, well, a newer release card to this game, which is a neat card that you can just play almost in any deck because it doesn't have like black in it. It just has a black mana that you can pay. So it's a 1-drop flyer lifelink that's black supposedly. I'm going to do Scarab God here. I'm going to pass it back over to him. And I mean, it's a cool card in black. He does Rakdos the Showstopper, which kind of sucks, but I get some triggers off of the Bastion of Remembrance. I do put Scarab God back in my hand. I wipe his board with Extinction Event. He gets another trigger off the Replicating Ring. He does Rite of Belzennock. I've never seen this card ever. I'm going to do Obliterator here, and then I'm going to foretell my Alrund's Epiphany. He just creates a bunch of stuff, and then he makes a 6/6 black demon creature with flying and trample. Terminates my thing, sadly. I'm going to do Alrund's Epiphany, and then I don't know. I'm going to do Ashiok right here. I'm going to make a 2/3. I'm going to attack with both my little birdies. He gets his 6/6 demon, but it's not like it's going to do much because I'm just going to exile it with Baleful Mastery. Probably this turn because I don't really want to take much damage. Anyways, he does Rafter Demon. Yep, I'm going to exile that. He gets a draw card, but it's not like a huge problem. Immerstern Raider, that's okay. Draws like another card or something like that. I believe, yeah, I'm going to do Sleep here, tapping all of his stuff. I'm going to attack with 3. Well, I'm going to deal him 4 damage. I'm still kind of afraid. Oh, there's Ritual of Soot, but I get to do a bunch of triggers off of Bastion of Remembrance, which is kind of funny. He says, oops there. I'm going to do Scarab God, and then I'm going to create another 2/3. I'm not going to Devour Intellect because there's no point to devour his Intellect because he has no cards in his hand. He does, he kills it with Rakdos Showstopper, but that's okay. I block his Rafter Demon, which kills it. It's funny that it doesn't have flying. And I'm going to do Ashiok here. I'm going to get Ravenous Chupacabra, popping his commander. I get both the Vault Scourge and the Tybalt's Rager. I'm going to do Immorith. I do Devour Intellect to make him discard 1 card. And I don't know if he has much from this. He does Rakdos Showstopper, but he doesn't have much that he can do. Demon Bolting my Ashiok I'm going to do Scarab God here. I'm going to pass it back over to him to see if he has anything, but I highly doubt that he does. Even if he does attack with it, I'm not super afraid because I'm not going to take a bunch of damage from it. And then I'm just going to see what he has in his graveyard. He has a Pilfering Imp. Yeah, I'll just get the Raptor Demon as a 4/4. I'm going to do the Scarab God again, getting the Pilfering Imp. It's just a 4/4 flyer. I probably could have attacked with everything and killed him, but I didn't really want to be risky. So I'm going to block, I'm going to block the Rakdos Showstopper guy. And he deals some damage, but it's not a bunch. It's not that much. Let's see what else. I'm going to do the Scarab God on the Indestructible Predator. I can discard a card, draw a card. He makes his thing indestructible, or my thing indestructible, I don't know which one it is. Yeah, he makes my Scarab God indestructible, and I kill him from there. Game 5. Our hand is actually pretty good. I have a nice turn 1 starter with Shambling Ghast. I believe he has, yeah, that's Kobold. I'm like 99% sure. I just can't see it from this angle. He plays Evolving Wild. I'm guessing he's going to get, yeah, Mountain. I'm going to play a Fabled Passage, which is the better Evolving Wilds in a sense, but still Evolving Wild is good. I'm going to attack with Shambling Ghast, deal him 1. Let's see what else he has from his hand. I mean, he could sacrifice his food, but it's not like that. Oh, that's nasty. I'm going to Soul Shatter, but it doesn't really matter because he can Phyrexian Signet Reclamation it back, which he's probably going to do because Young Pyromancer is a nice card. Oh no, he's going to get Gilded Goose. Interesting. So he's going to cast his Gilded Goose here, but it's not going to do much. He's going to create a treasure token, which is okay. I don't really care. He's going to pass back over to me. Yeah, I'm going to do Scarab God. I'm going to pass back over to him. There's not much of killing it because he can just get it back. He gets the Young Pyromancer back again with Phyrexian Reclamation. That's a really nice card in black, but I mean, it's fine. And in this deck, the reason why I don't run that card is because basically my Scarab God is a Phyrexian Reclamation. And it puts the battlefield from a graveyard. I'm going to Baleful Mastery his Young Pyromancer because that card gets out of hand very quickly. I'm just going to attack with the Scarab God here. I'm going to pass it back over to him to see if he has anything he can do. He could cast his Corville, but no, he casts Skullport Merchant, which I do immediately kill with Power Word Kill. He does Priest of the Forgotten Gods, which kind of sucks, but I just do my Shambling Ghast and I create a treasure token. And there's not much he can do from this point. He can't really cast, well, he can cast his Corville because of all the treasures he's been making, which is fine. I'm going to make him go to sleep, and then I'm going to get a nice Rotting Regisaur. I'm going to attack with 5, passing it back over to him. He does Tireless Provisioner, which makes him a food. I think that's out of the new Historic Horizons set, which is kind of neat. I play a land down in case he has anything that can discard my stuff. I'm going to get his Gilded Goose back, so it's a 4/4 big boy that is a mana ramp. Yeah, this is just kind of goofy. I'm going to attack with both my Scarab God and stuff. His stuff is untapped, however, it's not a problem unless he has stuff that doubles. He does Seize the Spoils, which really doesn't matter. He just draws some stuff and creates a treasure, and there's not much he can do from the standpoint. I mean, he could cast Embercleave theoretically, but I highly doubt. He does Regrowth back into his Tireless Provisioner, I believe is what he got back. Yeah, he got his Tireless Provisioner back. He cast it, I believe. Nope, he can't do anything with it. I think he is dead from this standpoint. I don't have any cards to discard. I get to draw my Teferi, Master of Time. And I believe that is just game right there. I tell him good game. Yep, and that is it. That was a really fun game to play. So overall, this deck was pretty decent for a Historic Brawl deck, which is basically Commander, which I'm probably going to refer to that as 2. I mean, sure, you don't get to play against as many opponents as you would like, but I mean, it's basically Commander. It's basically Commander 1v1, and you only have 25 life. So, I mean, why the heck not call it Commander? I mean, overall, it's did pretty well. It's about 60%, 70% win rate, which is not too bad. I mean, you could probably make it 80% if you did more of an aggro, but even then it's about the same. I mean, most decks have around the same chance of winning in Historic Brawl, other than a select few, and it's just overall just a really, really fun deck. Milling your opponent and getting to take their stuff from their graveyard is really fun, and having a reoccurring threat with Scarab God just is really, really kind of crazy. And stuff that puts on pressure. I mean, most pressure decks are either green or blue and black. well, blue and black is more of a control type deck, but pressure deck, kind of like this. I mean, it's not super pressure, but when you don't get to play anything with the amount of countering that this deck has, it's kind of stupid. But overall, I think it's pretty fun. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It'd be greatly appreciated. And yeah, thank you for watching.